and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Healing is possible with Tremfya. Approximately 3 out of 10 patients were in endoscopic remission at 1 year, based on areas visualized on colonoscopy, which may not represent the deeper bowel layer or entire GI tract. Individual results may vary. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
Summer has officially arrived. What's up, guys? It's Zach here. 5280 Exteriors wants to help you get your home ready before the seasons change. All June long, when you purchase a whole house of siding, you'll get free gutter guards, a limited time offer designed to protect your home and your wallet. Don't wait, guys. Book your project now and enjoy stunning new siding before fall weather rolls in. Visit 5280exteriors.com to schedule your free estimate. 5280 Exteriors, the altitude of quality.
When it's time to sell your home, you hope your agent knows the market, timing, pricing, interest rates, neighborhoods, staging open houses, understanding contracts, completing paperwork. Oh, and can actually help guide you on your big move. Don't hope, know. When you hire a Weichert agent, you can be sure you've got a partner who will guide you every step of the way, from listing to closing and everything in between. Weichert, dream, move, home. Each Weichert franchised office is independently owned and operated.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. Powered by Regen RX. It's The Drive with Zach By and Philip Lindsay. Welcome to Denver Sports Tonight. Taking a look at the biggest stories in Denver sports. From your online home for the best opinions and information on the Broncos, Nuggets, Avalanche, Rockies, and more. DenverSports.com.
And we welcome you into Denver Sports Tonight here on 104.3 The Fan. Marcello Romano, Dante Gomez, the Mez, riding shotgun. We'll be with you guys for the next hour. Dante, how we doing today, man?
I'm doing great, Joe. How about yourself?
Doing good.
I got kind of a little, your intro there got my brain turning here. What do you look for in a person driving shotgun? Or riding shotgun, I guess.
Oh, just like, I don't know.
Am I in charge of, like, the maps? Am I in charge of getting snacks? Like...
I leave it up. You know, snacks are good, but you also get an input into the playlist, man.
Okay.
So, I mean, we'll see. I guess give us
I'm on aux as well, or we're shared aux?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, we'll be, and just being the ultimate wingman is what you have to do.
Okay. I'm assuming I have to stay awake. We're going like road trip style here. Can't let the driver be the only one awake, right?
You know what? I have a buddy that may or may not be listening that we hit a road trip a while back. This is years ago. But every time we'd ask him to drive, he's like, oh, I'm tired, man. I don't think I can do that. So, yes, when I'm blaring the AC to keep myself awake, 6-7 hours into the road trip, I need to be able to look over and say, hey, Dante, I need a minute. Can you take over and keep the ship straight for a couple hours while I get rested a little bit?
Oh, so I have to be ready to step into duty as well.
Yeah, I'm not going to wake you up for it, but if it gets to that point, which we've all been there where you're tired while you're driving, I got to have a reliable person that can say, I'll take over for a little bit.
See, I meant it more as whoever shotgun's like, no. If I'm awake, you have to stay awake. You're just going to talk to me, and we're going to, make sure my brain is still going,
well,
and I'm not
one way
drifting
to do
off to sleep here.
But most of the time, the people riding shotgun eventually just kind of nod off a little bit.
See, I wouldn't do that to you, Cello.
I had to do that one time driving through the night with a buddy of mine. It was like, we thought it was all cool. Oh, we'll just drive through the night and we'll be fine. You get to those 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning hours, it's tough, when your eyes, like, you're literally having to just peel them open. So one thing we didn't have to peel open today was the Colorado Avalanche. We thought we were going to get most of the news today was going to be about the Broncos hitting the grass, right? Getting on the field for their OTAs. And the Avalanche said, hey, hold my beer. We got more news. They took a a play out of the Bronco playbook and said, "You're not the only team in
They
this
got them
town."
back.
Yes,
You think you're the story of the day? Look at this.
Yeah, check this out. And that news is that Chris McFarland will be shipping off to Nashville and taking a job there with the Predators, which left the Avalanche with some questions as far as what are you going to do with GM? Well, we got a few of those answers are starting to come into focus right now, at least for the short term. I don't know how long these moves will stay intact, but with Chris McFarland jetting to Nashville, the Colorado Avalanche, I think, probably did a prudent thing, and if they weren't able to exhaust all efforts to try and replace him, because they think it did happen relatively quick, they said, hey, Super Joe, we need you again. Gave him a tap on the shoulder, need that super cape, come down and man the GM responsibilities, at least for the foreseeable future is what it was quoted as. So it seems like it's a slight change or maybe a bit of a tweak, Dante, but with these type of moves, it could be major. It could be somewhat similar. It feels to me like the initial news is like, not run it back, but almost status quo because your leadership is staying kind of intact. The only difference is Joe Sakic's going to have to get to work on the day-to-day stuff, which he's been out of for a couple years now. And I said this on Freshly Graded with Will today, which, by the way, we'll have Will at 6:15 this evening to kind of go over this news. You need to get some rest because some work is coming. And you have the draft coming up. You're going to have to do the offseason stuff just to get the team prepped. And then how long will he stay in that seat as a general manager for the Colorado Avalanche? What did you think of the news that broke today?
I was caught off guard a little bit. I felt like the Avalanche would have done everything possible to try to keep McFarland in the building. He built a fantastic roster, obviously goes out and wins the President's Trophy. The Avalanche do this last year, the favorite to win the Cup up until about a week and a half ago, when they were not the favorite anymore. Go out, kind of sadly there in the Western Conference Final. Shocking, sadly, whatever adjective you want to add on there. But it caught me off guard a little bit. This feels like a top job as far as general managers go in the sport, and I get that they were able to add to his title, president of hockey. The quote was, hand him the keys over in Nashville, and I get leaving for that kind of situation, but just unfortunate. And Sean Payton had a great quote about it. I actually think this goes back to his Saints days, but it was about I think it was either the GM or the owner asking him about if he was concerned about his assistant coaches getting hired to other organizations. And his quote was, if they're not looking to hire them, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So I think that McFarland, well-deserved, good for him, go out and do a great job in Nashville. It's just unfortunate that the Avs system was a little bit clogged up with Joe Sakic being the president of hockey here, so there wasn't really room for any step up for McFarland in Denver, and he had to go elsewhere to find that.
I think you painted the picture perfectly because it's not like he didn't do a lot, especially in the last 2 years. I'm going to put a lot of what this roster looks like right now on Chris McFarland's plate because he's the one who decided at the end of 2024 in December, like this goaltending room isn't going to cut it, and completely overhauled that. Then you flip around like a month and a half later, you get the Rantanen trade, you get some of the other pieces that were supposed to be mainstays on this roster in hopes of winning a Stanley Cup championship. I think he did everything he possibly could all the way up to the end of the deadline this year, Dante. Like the Kadri move coming as late as it did when we all thought it was just going to be Nicholas Waugh, and that's him and Brent Kulak, that was basically going to be all you were going to be able to get. And then for him to kind of swing for the fences again and get what we all thought was going to be that final chess piece to a Stanley Cup and getting Nazem Kadri back, none of that stuff worked. But I'm not going to criticize the guy for what he was able to build because I think he took big swings at trying to build a championship contender. It didn't work out. And there was that time during the Rantanen trade where he was catching a lot of heat, a ton of heat. But all those moves went up the ladder, right? They went up to Joe Sakic and said, are you good with this? He had to sign off on them. But now he becomes the architect of some of these deals. And something has to change as far as what you're going into next season with. Because you fell woefully short of your goal this year. And it was shocking and it was abrupt because you were 8-1 in the postseason going into it. And then to get beat 4 straight by a team that looked much less than you did on paper, for them to come out and win in the fashion that they did, I don't know how much can change over a few months before they prep for 2026 and 2027.
Yeah, I thought McFarland did an absolutely incredible job here in Denver, and you said he took some big swings here to build a championship roster. I would even go further and say he connected. He built a championship roster here in Denver, Colorado. It didn't work out in terms of winning the championship, but I don't think anybody could argue that he didn't build a absolutely incredible roster here. Go out, win the President's Trophy, like I said. Favorite along the way. Go out, dismantle the Kings. I won't say dismantle the Kings. Beat the Kings handily in round 1. I would say dismantle the Wild in round 2. And yeah, it didn't work out long term, but I don't think that's Chris McFarland's fault. I think he did absolutely everything he could to build a roster that was capable of going out and winning. And everybody here in town, everybody nationally believed that this roster was good enough to go out and win a championship. So I have nothing but respect for the way McFarland was able to go out and do his job here in Colorado. It's one of those where, yeah, you're right. Joe Sakic is going to have to go out, and he's got his work cut out for him because obviously the way the Western Conference Final went, you do have to make some alterations here, and you can't really afford to miss. The Avs are in a cup window, not a whole lot of assets to maybe help themselves out if they do make a mistake here. You have to go out and nail. It's not a whole lot of moves, but maybe it's 2 to 3 moves, but they have to be hits on all of them.
Yeah, I mean, your margin for error, as you just stated, is slim, and the time is shrinking now too with this core of a roster that you have with the Avalanche. And you kind of alluded to it. For years now, they've been, if not the one with the odds-on favorite, they're in the top 2, 3, 4 teams that are expected to compete for a Stanley Cup championship. So that brings us to the next step in the evolution of some of the decisions being made. We found out that this morning, and then shortly after it was reported that it's likely that Jared Bednar's coming back as the head coach as well. Now, I know Phil and Zach kind of went at it a bit on this discussion. A little bit more than that. On where you stand on the decision to keep Jared Bednar here. I think hockey's a little bit different than other sports, and I understand the idea of, well, if you're going to bring him back, then you better extend him because nobody wants to play for a lame duck coach. I look at Jared Bednar and just some of his comments of having the expectation of cup or bust and kind of welcoming that expectation to kind of look at it like, if you don't believe in me and I have to do it on a prove it to me deal, I don't think he would completely shy away from that. I think that's just where hockey's a tad different. If we go back to like Moneyball, the movie Moneyball, Art Howe kept going to Billy Beane and being like, I only have 1 year left. Like, you know what that's like. Like, give me some security. And a lot of people don't like being put in that position, but that's essentially kind of just what the American dream is, right? You got to prove it before you're just going to be given anything. Now, professional sports have changed that landscape massively, probably since about the mid-'80s. You're getting paid mostly on potential, on what they expect you to do, not what you're really proven. With Jared Bednar, he's already won a cup. He's had a team that's been competing for cups for the past 5 seasons. He hasn't had the ultimate success except for one time. I was fine with them keeping him. I thought they were going to make a move. I think as an organization, you have to ask that question. But I think if I'm going to look at it, I'm going to put more of the onus on the players on the ice. How many times after the games in that Western Conference Finals, Dante, did we hear, we were told what we were going to do, we just didn't execute it? He's moving the lines, jostling the lines, trying to find any solution to the equation that the Vegas Knights presented, and they couldn't do it. And I put most of it on the players. I just don't know how you change culturally from that. Like, if you're not going to make a move at head coach, it is a bit of run it back, status quo. What's going to change in the season to come?
And it's hard to predict that because based on the moves of bringing back Bednar, this roster's pretty locked up unless they go out and make a massive blockbuster trade like the Mikko Rantanen one, which I don't expect them to do. It feels like they are running it back. And I'm not going to be up in arms that Jared Bednar is returning for the Colorado Avalanche. I think he's a really good coach. But I do think it's somewhat of a missed opportunity for 2026, 2027 for that season of going out to try to win a Stanley Cup. I just don't think it's run its course here. Jared Bednar and the Colorado Avalanche, it's run its course. They could easily go out and win a cup next year. It's hard to predict that when you've had so many shortcomings and so many disappointments over the last decade here with him as the head guy. So I was in favor of making a change there, bringing in somebody else. I also don't like the idea of Bednar coaching on the final year of his deal. I would have liked to see either an extension or a firing. I feel like this is kind of the middleman area where you don't really have a clear direction as an organization. So I would have liked to see a move there, but I'm not going to say that the Avalanche are doomed just because they bring back Bednar. It's just hard for me to see a scenario where they do go out and win a cup. And as many of the guys down there have said, it's cup or bust for this team. It's going to be cup or bust next year. It's going to be cup or bust the following year after that. So anything short of that, to me, is a disappointment. And again, that's what we've gotten kind of used to here with the Colorado Avalanche of, wow, so much excitement going into the playoffs and then just not being able to get it done.
It goes back to that idea, and I don't know how much you paid attention to it. You were probably in Arizona chilling when this was going on. But John Fox, after the loss to the Seahawks in the Super Bowl, it had been reported that John Elway was looking to make a move at that point, but it's kind of hard to fire a coach that just led your team to a Super Bowl. We know what ended up happening, and they didn't perform at the level that we expected in the following season. They got beat by the Colts in the postseason. Then they make the move to Gary Kubiak, which seemed like the move that needed to be made for them to get a championship. But I always kind of wonder if John was like, if I could go back and do it the year prior, maybe we have an opportunity at not just one Super Bowl, but another one. So it just brings up that question of when's the right time, because you know how many people will be up in arms if the Avalanche falls short again next season, and they'll be like, we told you. And then you're going to have the same conversations in the offseason next year of what do we do because you just wasted yet another year.
And it definitely feels like this move by bringing back Bednar leaves them vulnerable to wasting a whole nother year of Nathan McKinnon's prime. Cale Makar he just finished second for the Norris. He's obviously in his prime as well. So it definitely leaves them open to wasting a whole nother year, which I was not in favor of. And you mentioned it there. It's really hard to know when to make this kind of move. And I think I guess the Patriots didn't do this with their head coach, but they always did this with players. They'd rather move on too early than too late. And I'm afraid that if they wait another year, it might be too late for these guys.
Well, let's go out to our hotline and welcome in our guest from Freshly Graded, the hot new digital show on Denver Sports. And you can hear him here, I think, tomorrow night. It's Will Peterson who covers the Colorado Avalanche for us. What's up, Will?
Hey, what's up, fellas?
Hey, dude, I just want to get your take. I know we kind of briefly discussed it today, but a lot of news was kind of thrust upon the Denver local sports scene this morning with the Avalanche, who were oddly quiet after the dismissal in the Western Conference Finals, to the news that broke today. And what do you see going forward from it?
Yeah, I mean, three things happened today, and all three would be huge headlines on their own if they happened one at a time. But we had three of them. Chris McFarland left the Avalanche to go join the Nashville Predators as their new president of hockey operations and GM. Joe Sakic took back the title of GM for the foreseeable future, according to Avs owner Josh Kroenke. He hasn't had that job since the summer of 2022. And Jared Bednar, by multiple reports, will be retained for the 26-27 season. So think about that for a second. All three of those things happened within 2 hours of each other, and yet any one of them would have sort of made everyone pause and go, whoa, that's a big deal. So it was a huge day for the Avalanche for sure, and happy to unpack all three of those things with you, Cello.
All right, well, let's do exactly that. Bednar coming back for 2026, according to reports. Do you like the move? Do you expect a follow-in move of an extension coming? Or do you think they're just going to leave it at this, that Bednar's coming back for one final year, and we're going to reevaluate 1 year from now?
Well, here's the thing, Dante. If you'd asked me that question yesterday, I would have said no. I thought it was time for the Avalanche to move on from Jared Bednar, and maybe his voice had grown a little bit stale in the room. But at the same time, I recognize what this team did last year. They had 121 points, the most ever in the history of the franchise, and they won the President's Trophy, and they went 8-1 in their first 9 playoff games. They did have good moments, and I'm not trying to downplay what happened against Vegas. That was bitterly disappointing. I mean, literally, we're about to watch Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final, and the Avs aren't in it, and we all thought they were going to be. So I'm not downplaying that at all. But at the same time, because Chris McFarland has now left, I think you do need to keep Jared Bednar, because you need continuity for an organization that's had that much success. And a good way to get this train off the tracks would be to lose your GM and your head coach in the same offseason. That just doesn't make a lot of sense. That's what floundering franchises do, not ones that have cup or bust expectations every single year. And I understand they busted this year, but that's not to say they're going to bust next year. And if you let the GM leave and then fire the head coach, I think the players are going to start looking around going, what is going on here? We thought we were one of the best teams in the league, yet two prominent positions are gone. So I reserve the right to change my tune, and my tune has changed because I think if you lose your GM, you got to keep your head coach. So I'm fine with them keeping Jared Bednar, and I also probably would extend him at this point because what is the upside of him being a lame duck? What happens if you start 4-7 next year? Guys are going to start looking around the locker room going, when's he going to get fired? You got to eliminate any controversy before it begins, and you probably need to extend Jared Bednar. Again, that decision has been made for you. I'm seeing a lot of people on social media going, fire Bednar, fire Bednar. Well, he's not going to get fired and your GM left. So I'm trying to live in reality. I'm not trying to live in the past. And as we sit here today on June 2nd with Chris McFarland gone, the most sense remains if you're going to bring Jared Bednar back, which they are going to do, that you should give him a contract extension to sort of solidify that because if there's any rough patches next season and he's a lame duck, then all the players are going to be looking around waiting for him to get fired.
Will Peterson is our guest. Well, let me play devil's advocate for a second there. And I understand everything that you're kind of illustrating, but it is a production business, and they haven't had the production that has been expected. Yes, they got the one cup, but they were expected to win multiple cups with the core and the roster that they have. So if we get to a point where it's like we can't do that because of the organizational dysfunction it would create, you could point at it as Joe Sakic or Josh Kroenke and just say, hey, man, this is a results-driven business. The consequences of us not producing at the most important times of the year could be you're not going to get to keep that coach, and your GM may leave. So if we get to the end of next season and you have extended Jared Bednar and you fall short again in the postseason, I just don't know how Avalanche fans or people are going to understand why did we extend this guy if we're just going to go bang our head against the wall again.
Yeah, but the last time I checked, even if you extend the guy, you can still fire him next year, right? It's more of a create less distractions in November, December, January, February, March type deal. I mean, Paul Bissonnette, one of the biggest voices in hockey right now, he said on his podcast the other day that the Vegas players had basically quit in March on Bruce Cassidy, and they were ready for the summer vacation. Obviously, Vegas saw they needed to make a change and brought in John Tortorella, and now they're about to drop the puck for Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final. So I don't want that sort of toxic situation to seep into the Avalanche's locker room of maybe if they're struggling come the spring, guys are just going to go, well, our coach is a lame duck, whatever, let's just go to Cancun. Like, players are human beings too, and I don't want that to become their nature because if Bednar is extended, they will have some confidence. They won't create sort of that toxic locker room, and by all accounts, Vegas was toxic until they made a change. So, Jello, I see what you're saying, but, like, if you extend him, that's fine. Fire him and pay him out the deal. Like, just because you extend him doesn't bind you into keeping him. It just binds you into paying him. So I understand that maybe isn't necessarily the Kroenke way, but
yeah.
if they extend him and then let's say they lose in the first round next year, sure, fire him. Eat the money. It's not my money. It's not your money. It's Stan Kroenke's money. He's got plenty of it.
Well, you are right. It doesn't sound like that is the Kroenke way, or at least what we've seen from them lately. You mentioned Vegas and how they kind of got a little kick in the butt once they fired their old coach, brought in Torts there, and they're on a run here to the Stanley Cup Final. Is that not something you think this Avalanche team is in need of? Of maybe it's been too status quo, and maybe they need a little bit of a shakeup in that locker room outside of the players? And then number two, on top of that, do you think the players had any say in terms of Bednar coming back?
Yeah, I mean, it's a valid point. It was kind of my argument last week, DG. Like, I'm not trying to be so flippy-floppy here, but I understand I'm being a little flippy-floppy. My point is the GM leaving changed my mind. So you're not telling me anything I disagree with, that, yes, the voice was maybe stale, and Tortorella is a good example of what a new guy can do. I'm just saying because McFarland left, I'm not looking to go in an offseason where I won the President's Trophy trying to hire a new GM and a new head coach. So I'm not going to give you too much pushback. I'm just trying to explain to you why my position has changed here in the last, I don't know, call it 8 hours since all this news broke this morning. And then, two, I do think the players had some say, for sure. You know, they're not, with all due respect, they're not calling third and fourth line guys asking for their opinion. But I would say with 90% certainty that Joe Sakic has had conversations with first and foremost, Gabriel Landeskog, the captain of the team, and then, of course, the two best players in Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar. I would be stunned if they weren't kept in the loop on everything that was going on behind the scenes with Chris, and then they had input on whether or not to retain Jared. Again, it's certainly not the whole roster, but I bet Joe and maybe even Josh, I know he's been really busy with Arsenal and the Rams and all that, but certainly Joe, I would have expected to have talked with Gabe, Nathan, and Cale about this.
Well, what's the chance that he does come back without being extended? And that's just an understanding from the organization to Jared Bednar that we haven't gotten the results that we expected or were hoping for, and we'll retain you as our coach, but it's kind of a prove it to me type of year. I understand everything you're saying about lame duck, but hockey players and coaches and organizations are a bit of a different breed. We're not talking about baseball. We're not talking about the NBA or even football for that matter. It's just a little bit different. So I don't think I'd be all that shocked if we don't hear of an extension, but I do understand the idea of either fire him or extend him, make one or the other.
Yeah, and they're not going to fire him. So now it's either lame duck or extend him. To answer your question, what are the chances? I'd handicap it at maybe 30%. I'd say 70% he gets an extension, 30% he's a lame duck. I mean, the reality is Jared Bednar is under contract, and he is the head coach of the Avalanche, and he's the head coach of the Avalanche through next year. So if he wants to get paid, he's obviously going to show up to work and continue to coach the team. I don't think Jared Bednar has a lot to stand on and bang on the table, give me an extension now. If Josh and Joe say no, you think what? Jared's not going to show up to training camp? Of course he'll be there. He's the coach of the team. He's got a deal. He's getting paid, I don't know how much money, but fairly handsomely to be the head coach of the Avalanche. So, yeah, my handicap on that would be probably 30-70, Cello.
All righty. Well, we certainly appreciate you joining us tonight, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow.
Yeah, what a monster day. Can I just leave you with a quick thought on Joe Sakic?
Yeah, fire away, yeah.
I just think he took the GM gig as a favor to Josh Kroenke. I think he loves the Avalanche so much that he knew if he didn't take this, that the ship could sort of, sink a little bit in the next couple months. I mean, you got the draft coming up. Okay, I guess that's somewhat of a big deal. But you also have summer trade season and free agency. And the Avs don't have any money to spend in free agency, so they need to make trades and need to be active. And I think Joe thought, okay, I better take the GM job. So I think he did the Kroenkes a huge favor because he loves the Avs so much. And that was his thinking behind wanting to, take this step back, if you will, and take a job he hadn't held in about 4 years.
Don't think I could have said it any better. Will, we appreciate it.
All right, thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
There he goes, Will Peterson. Catch him out on Denver Sports. All right, coming up, we change gears, and we go to maybe a B-side story, but one that I think is a little bit more interesting than most, and it concerns one of your Denver Nuggets. Dante and I discuss that next.
Parents, looking for a fun way to get your kid active this summer?
Are you kidding me?
Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan's third annual Be a Mentor, Be a Fan Youth Football Camp is back. Brought to you by Walmart. Saturday, June 27th at Denver South High School's All-City Stadium. Your child, ages 8 to 14, will learn the fundamentals of football in a safe, hands-on environment from people who played the game at the highest level. We're talking former Denver Broncos Mark Schlereth, Philip Lindsay, and Brandon Stokely, along with a trusted coaching staff from Denver South. And every dollar raised goes to Big Brothers Big Sisters of Colorado. So your family is giving back just by showing up. Sign up today at denversports.com/camp. That's denversports.com/camp.
For many of us, it's happened before. Your hair is thinning, crowns disappearing. Maybe the hair loss has you feeling your identity is lost altogether. The solution that worked for me, it's an incredible yet simple one-day treatment that starts growing your own natural hair the very next day. And it's guaranteed to grow for life. It's the Advanced FUE from Advanced Hair. We've all seen the pills and lotions that come with monthly subscriptions. They help retain what you have, but what if you want your own natural hair permanently in specific areas? From Advanced Hair's state-of-the-art facilities to world-class Dr. Tanya Paul's, it's not maybe your hair will regrow, it's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. You decide how much, how thick, and where. It's why Advanced Hair is the winner of Westward's Best of Denver. For your free consultation, $250 off and 250 free hair grafts, call 720-459-HAIR. That's 720-459-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
Are you one of those people who dread going to the dentist? If so, have you tried sedation dentistry? Learn more about sedation dentistry at coloradosedation.com. Sit back, relax, and dream with the most experienced sedation dentist and staff at Clarkson Dental.
Women go through many changes in their lives. And we believe each milestone matters. That every new candle represents another step in your story. Our healthcare experts support women at every stage of life. Because each chapter deserves to be celebrated. Women's health. Nurture what's next. Find care near you at mountain.commonspirit.org. Common Spirit Health. Human kindness lives here.
I've got to tell you about Champ Honda. If you're looking for an SUV that can handle Colorado, check out the new 2026 Honda CR-V. It's comfortable, capable, and perfect for everything from your daily drive to weekend getaways. Right now, Champ Honda has the largest inventory since before COVID, so you've got more options than ever. And I love this. Champ Honda does things differently. Their one price, one person, 1 hour philosophy means a fair price up front and way less time at the dealership. They never charge dealer handling fees.
June hits different at Coors Field. Great matchups all month long, including the Chicago Cubs and Boston Red Sox. And the vibes don't stop there. Score exclusive giveaways, City Connect hat, a first-of-its-kind Dinger bobblehead, a Rockies soccer jersey, and a Hawaiian shirt on Father's Day. Baseball at altitude. It doesn't get better than this. Make your summer count. We're here for the climb. Get your tickets now at Rockies.com/tickets.
Stoke here for ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Are you in the market for a new air conditioner? Well, hold on. You need to think about a heat pump. It cools and heats your home. My team at ROX are Colorado's heat pump experts and rebate specialists. Get up to $12,000 in energy rebates and credits. These savings are incredible, but they're only available for a limited time. Only at ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Now play that jingle.
HVAC service, installation, repair. ROX Rocks Heating and Air.
Support comes from Amazon Business. You can't rely on guesswork to run your business. With smart business buying, innovative AI tools optimize your purchasing experience, paired with delivery options built for business. Empower your team today. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Ent is becoming Wings. It's a big change. But we're not changing the way we show up for our communities, or our personal service, or the people who provide it. We're not changing locations. We're not even replacing the coffee machine. But we are changing our name. We'll probably even get some new pens. It'll be a big day for pen people. Ent Credit Union, insured by NCUA.
Done right kitchens, baths, counters and floors, finished basements, windows and doors. Our 8% scheduling incentive and bank financing to ask about make a great time to call 800-362-8370 or drhi.com.
It's Denver Sports Tonight on Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan.
All right, back in Denver Sports Tonight, Marcelo Romano, Dante Gomez. Is this what you're playing, riding shotgun?
Yeah, I like a little New Radicals.
There you go. That's a good one.
They have their little cover art with their what are those hats? You know what hats I'm talking about?
Fedora?
Nah, it's not a fedora. It's like a soft fedora.
Oh.
Kind of.
Bucket hat?
Yeah, like a bucket hat.
I gotcha. All right, you can get involved with us tonight, either on the ramoslaw.com text line, 303-713-1043, or there is the YouTube chat presented by Champ Honda. This coming from Brian and Evans. If Sakic doesn't want that GM job, I'll take it. I would want to work from home, though. I don't really like people. Brian from Evans lost the bet, had to move to Nebraska. Thanks, Brian. We appreciate it. All right, going into the break, I kind of led into the idea of Jamal Murray, and you can see this on DenverSports.com. Jake Shapiro wrote about it yesterday, I believe, that Jamal Murray won't play for Canada at the LA Olympics or in these World Cup qualifiers that get announced or that get underway this summer. And there was a lot of things that came from it, but there's a couple that I want to discuss with you, Dante, and what does it mean for Jamal Murray? And then secondarily, what could it mean for the Denver Nuggets? Now, the Canada GM Rowan Barrett had some comments when asked about his 23-man roster. Let's listen to it and then react to it. Here's what he had to say.
Just to be brutally honest with you, if guys don't commit this summer, they're not in. We can't. We got too short of a period of trying to bring guys in and guys out. And when I was with Germany, I think we had 6 or 7 NBA guys. 3 guys didn't come, didn't want to come. All of a sudden, they want to come year 2. Sorry.
Jamal Murray, obviously the name not that you didn't mention there. Is he part of that group of 50 that had committed for the quad that you said you could pull from? And is there a path for him to be there in LA?
No, Jamal Murray is not committed to the program, to playing moving forward. As I said, this is a guy that's been playing for Canada since he was a child. He's got tremendous desire, for the country. But as I shared before, sometimes there's things going on, with the athletes that prevent them from doing that. So no, he's not in that group of 50.
Couple things, Dante. One, it's a group of 50 that they're able to pull from. I mean, they had just announced a 23-man roster for this World Cup qualifiers. But 2, the thing that was most alarming to me is Rowan Barrett said, quote, he's got tremendous desire to play for the country, but sometimes there are things going on with the athletes that prevent them from doing so. So a couple of things that caught me off guard there was, well, what do you mean? I mean, obviously there could be like family concerns or something that's going on that nobody would criticize him for missing this opportunity for that. But if you're not even going to put him on a group of 50, I know Canada's gotten a hell of a lot better. Their roster's pretty stacked with some NBA players, but you don't think Jamal Murray or the Blue Arrow belongs on it. It's kind of crazy to me. And 2, does that mean there's like a lingering injury issue that we don't know about after he just had his first All-Star season, first All-Pro season, second team All-Pro, and now we get this news going into it. So it bothers me on 2 fronts. One, when he gets back and the Denver Nuggets start to prepare for the 2026-2027 campaign, is he going to be in shape? Is he going to be healthy? And 2, when we've labeled out who would create the most interest on a trade market, I think it's Cam Johnson. I think Jamal Murray's there, but if there's other issues that's preventing him from playing basketball, that certainly decreases the interest. So those 2 things are what I'm concerned about. I'm not really concerned. Listen, I think the dude would probably love to play for his country. This isn't the U.S. roster, so I probably have that little more just not so much interested in another country's roster. But it does concern me, injury concerns, because I don't know what else he would be referencing when he says there's things going on with an athlete's, that sometimes they prevent them from playing or participating.
Yeah, and you hope it's not an injury thing. You hope it's not a family thing. I'm going to take both those scenarios out for what I'm about to say here.
Okay.
To me, it's a bad look for Jamal Murray. To me, it comes off as lazy. You can't commit to working with your country that you grew up in for the last your entire life, but for the next 3 years to play in the Olympics in 2028. SGA, the 2-time MVP, committed to this 3-year program with your country, and you're too big time to be able to commit to that. Again, I hope it's not a family thing. I hope it's not an injury thing.
Yeah.
And if it is an injury thing, you can still commit to the program, and you just show up and you rehab, and maybe you're not able to play in the FIBA qualifiers of this summer, but you're going to be able to play in those Olympics a couple years from now. So to me, it comes off poorly that he doesn't care about playing with his brothers from Canada up there. He doesn't care about representing his country. And I didn't like that look from him. And again, maybe it is some external circumstance, but if it is a family thing, actually, never mind. I'm not going to go down that road. But yeah, to me, it just didn't come off well. That he was too big time to be able to commit. And I get that Canada for a long time has probably not had a lot of NBA players. I saw some stat that when Steve Nash was winning MVPs in the league, they had, I think it was 2 or 3 total Canadians in the league, and now they have 30 plus Canadians in the league. So to me, it came from the point of view of the Team Canada team, they were like, hey, we don't need you. If you don't want to commit to us, we got 30 other guys that want to play for us that are also NBA caliber. And sure, it'd be great to have you, but we're not going to bend our rules and our policies just because you don't want to show up for the next couple summers. And maybe you just want to show up for the 2028 Olympics.
I push back on you on two things. If the quote would have stopped at, no, Jamal Murray is not committed to playing in the program going forward, I'd be completely on board with you. But he went on to continue to say that he's got tremendous desire to play for the country. But sometimes there are things going on with athletes that prevent them from doing so. That's where I think he kind of protected Jamal Murray. And I get it. I think the mentality's changed for Jamal. We saw that firsthand here in Denver last season with the season he was able to produce. And two, coming off the last Olympics, where he left a lot left to be desired. So did Team Canada, to be honest with you. They were expected to do a lot more than they did. But Jamal Murray's play in that tournament wasn't great to the point where he wasn't even getting a ton of playing time towards the end of it. So you'd think he'd want to have an opportunity to kind of go out and represent his country and say, this is what you should have expected from me. That's a false sample that I gave you prior to it. And I think his mentality has changed enough. I'm concerned about it because if it's just like I'm too big for this, to your point, even if it was a lingering injury issue, put your name in the hat. I mean, half the guys were just named on this one. You could keep your name available to them if they ever needed you, like we see with U.S. rosters. In all these different tournaments, you never see the same team twice in these FIBA World Cup events and all that before they get to the Olympics. And then they give the opportunity to the players to make the decision before the Olympics if they're going to commit there. This seems like a country mandate. Like if you're not going to jump in now, don't expect to jump in later.
And that's exactly what it is. And I respect Canada for doing that. And Team USA probably would never be able to do that and get the best possible players to play in both the Olympics and some of these smaller qualifying tournaments. But they are still able to manage. And they kind of use the qualifying tournaments as almost like a JV Team USA, where it's like, Mikal Bridges, Jalen Brunson. Yep. I think Chet might have been on one of those. And then they kind of fine-tune it for the actual Olympic roster. I will say one other thing. It could be maybe Jamal Murray has bad blood with Team Canada of like, hey, you guys had me coming off the bench last year.
Yeah.
And now you want me to commit to 3 years? I'm not going to do that. I was third team All-Pro in the NBA. I'm not coming off the bench for you guys.
Yeah, and you're right. And there's history to kind of point to that. Not this past season, but the season prior, going into the season. Remember how deflective he was during his, preseason press conference and talking about MMA, and he had other interests other than basketball. And if that were still the case, I'd be 100% on board with you. But I just thought I saw a big change from him this past season, and I'm just hopeful that it's not something that could affect him if he does remain to be a Denver Nugget or if it is included in as kind of a trade piece during the off season. All right, we got to get
quick before we move on. Good text here from the text line from the 2153. Maybe he wants to do the same training he did last year, and I actually would respect that. If it's like, hey, I have my own system. Team Canada's great, but my main mission at this point is to try to be the best possible player for the Denver Nuggets, and for me to be that, it's by not participating in some of those. I think that's also an alternative of what could have happened here.
For sure. Let me repeat as another All-Star in this coming season. All right, coming up, back to the Denver Broncos as they get the cleats on the grass today. I asked Dante, what is he looking forward to most, and what can you really garner out of an OTA? And then Von Miller is openly campaigning for a return to the organization. We dive into all of that next.
Thunder and Spurs are loaded, and the Nuggets might need Payton Watson to keep pace. But re-signing him could push Denver past the second tax apron. So, how does Denver thread the needle?
He can't go anywhere. There's a lot of different ways for them to be able to keep Payton Watson. You don't want to go into the second apron. Okay, we don't want to do that. So that's a non-starter.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Hey guys, boy Stink here today by my long-term buddy Troy Hansford. And if you're thinking about selling your house for any reason, now might be the time to sell, still get top dollar. Believe it or not, my guy Troy is still offering his $5,000 guarantee. What is it, you ask? Well, if he can't sell your house at your price on your timeline that you agree upon beforehand, bam, going to cut you a check for $5,000. Who else makes the offer? Nobody I've ever heard of. And he makes that offer because he continues to spend a ton of money marketing his listings, has about 100 families approved and ready to buy right now. And if for any reason you need to sell right away, Troy can buy your house all cash and you can close in as little as 7 days. You have a house to sell, Troy probably has that perfect buyer for you right now, waiting for you to pick up the phone and to call him. Call Troy, get your home sold for the most money. That's 720-900-4433, 720-900-4433. Troy Hansford of RE/MAX Professionals, a Colorado licensed broker. Some restrictions do apply. If you want to sell your house? Then call my buddy Troy, 720-900-4433.
Most people don't think about their garage door until it stops working. Hi, I'm Tommy Mello, owner of Don's Garage Door Service. A noisy garage door is a cry for help. Most repairs are simple, but if left untreated, they can turn into costly repairs. Your garage door works hard every day, and a little maintenance goes a long way. We fix garage doors fast with quality parts designed to last a lifetime. There's never a good time for your garage door to break, whether you're rushing to work or you're trying to get the kids to school. We know how much you rely on your garage door. That's why we offer same-day repairs, because life doesn't wait, and neither should you. Over 90,000 five-star reviews don't happen by accident. They happen by putting people first. Fixing your garage door is what we do, but making your life easier and your home safer is why we do it. Families trust us because we deliver, and we'd be honored to earn your trust too. From repairs to upgrades, call Don's Garage Door Service today.
Getting a little older doesn't have to mean, well, getting older. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and if you're feeling low energy, can't sleep, can't lose weight, are struggling with brain fog, or your sex drive is off, it's time to change it up. At the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, our advanced medical strategies featuring TRT, GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, PDA, and more treat low T and other hormonal issues to help you shed pounds, have more energy, enhance your body composition, improve sleep, increase your sex drive, and so much more. Getting you back in the game again. So don't be older. Be stronger in the gym. Be sharper at work. Be better in the bedroom, and be more confident in every part of your life. So call us today and find out how our advanced treatment strategies could change the game for you. Your first visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on one of our advanced treatment plans on the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com.
Feature therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
This feeling is brought to you by Aleve for back pain relief. What feeling is that, you ask? Well, it's the feeling you feel when you have relief from back pain. That move how you want to, not how you have to feeling. That keep going through your day without slowing down feeling. The kind that brings you back to yourself all day long without interruption. Oh yeah. Because Aleve offers long-lasting pain relief. Feel up to 12 hours of back pain relief with one dose. Feel Aleve. Use as directed for minor aches and pains.
Do you believe in love at first sight?
We do, and you will too when you see Tacori. Handcrafted in California, Tacori rings have design details you won't find in any other diamond engagement rings.
Including Tacori's perfectly engineered crown and windows of light created by Tacori's iconic crescent design.
It's the Tacori touch, and you'll find it at Williams Jewelers, Colorado's only platinum Tacori store. I'm Steve Williams.
I'm Shayna Williams.
And I'm Dylan Williams. You'll find all your Tacori jewelry at Williams Jewelers of Inglewood, along with one of the largest selections of certified loose diamonds in the state, all at the guaranteed best price.
So come, fall in love with the Tacori ring she's always dreamed of.
Tacori at Williams Jewelers of Inglewood,
Colorado's premier jeweler.
Williams Jewelers, we can make diamonds a part of your life.
Williams Jewelers of Inglewood, where Colorado shines. On the corner of Bellevue and Broadway, the official jeweler of the Colorado Avalanche.
Names that rhyme, takes that hit different. Shapiro and Piro. is happy hour sports talk built for the modern fan. Local stories, hidden gems, and the mustache monologues you never knew you needed. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on the Denver Sports 1043 The Fan YouTube channel. Subscribe now at Denver Sports 1043 and get in on the action. Denver Sports 1043 The Fan. Denver Sports Station 104.
All right, final segment, Denver Sports Tonight, 104.3 The Fan. Marcello Romano, Dante Gomez. Let me pay off a couple quick texts on the wrong. Include him, and just not to upset anyone, they didn't say it. Instead, you called Jamal lazy. All right, that comes from Joe in Inglewood. Joe, you honestly believe there's 50 better basketball players in Canada than Jamal Murray? I mean, come on. This was a decision, I think, made by him. I think the way it was kind of laid out, the quotes kind of show that there was a desire, at least if I'm believing what Rowan Barrett said in his quote, that there was a desire there. There was just some things that athletes go through that prevent them from doing so. And then we get it followed up by hoping Jamal wants to skip because he wants to avoid burnout and injury. Plenty of American players skipped the Olympics. It took a complete embarrassment for Kobe to join the team. Yeah, but not of late. They skip some of these other tournaments, but when it gets to the Olympics and you have an opportunity to represent your country and compete for a gold medal, make no mistake, Canada is in it to try and medal. They thought they were going to be a medal winner in the last go-around of the Olympics. They didn't play well. Jamal Murray didn't play well, and they're trying to put together the best roster possible. I'm more concerned that it could be something that we're not even considering now and how that could affect the Denver Nuggets and any possible trade scenarios going forward. All right, leading into the break, we talked about the Broncos hit the grass finally. Football season is one day closer, and since our two organizations that call Ball Arena home fell short of what their ultimate goal was, we have a bit of a longer summer, so we'll take anything. And the appetite for the NFL is insatiable, especially in Denver when you're coming off a campaign when you went 14-3 and had a berth in the AFC Championship game, which could have been more had Bo Nix not got hurt. But Dante, the OTAs start today. Does this get your radar up at all? Is there anything you're hoping to hear or see? Now, it's not open today. It won't be open tomorrow. I think it's open on Thursday. And then Sean Payton will also meet the media on Thursday. But what do you expect out of this Denver Broncos club coming off of the first kind of real practice?
I expect there to be a certain culture, a certain tone with this team of kind of similar to what we saw with the Avalanche, where championship or bust. And I think Sean Payton instills that in his teams regardless of like, hey, we're some bad mother effers and the other teams are going to have to worry about us. But there was definitely a level of professionalism in last year's training camp, and I expect that to continue into this year.
Is there any specific player you want to hear about or see? Look, obviously, they're not going to show lowlights. We'll only see highlights, but I think you're missing out on seeing Bo Nix because of the second ankle procedure, which I think is a little bit detrimental. I think he can get caught up, but you want every rep with a new play caller. You want every rep with a new wide receiver in Jalen Waddle. You want every rep with the young guys that you brought in, and how you're going to utilize Evan Ingram compared to how he was utilized under Sean Payton play calling last year. So who's the guys? What are the ones that you're most focused on? Is it just that, or are you interested in hearing about anything else?
I'm interested in a couple things, maybe off the beaten path a little bit. I'm interested to see who the third wide receiver is on a lot of these drills, because obviously Sutton and Waddle will be 1 and 2 out there. But I'm interested to see if it's Troy Franklin, if it's Marvin Mims, if it's Pat Bryant. Maybe he took a huge step from last year. So I'm excited to see who that third wide receiver is on a lot of these plays. And then I'm also interested to see Jonah Ellis, inside linebacker, and how that experiment is going with this Broncos defense. I don't really think you're going to learn a whole lot from Evan Ingram during this process, just because Bo Nix isn't out there, as you mentioned. I also don't think you're going to learn a whole lot from Jonah Coleman, just because running backs, to me, this isn't really the scenario for them to be successful, especially a big body like him where his game is breaking tackles, running through the middle. I don't necessarily think that's going to translate in this setting. But yeah, I think there's certain things you can learn about this team still.
There's a few things that kind of hit the news last week, and Von Miller was in town, and we know that he hasn't been shy about wanting a return to the organization in some aspect or scenario, whether it's to play and finish out his career as a Denver Bronco. Ultimately, he wants to end up in a front office, and he would love for that to be in Denver. I saw you roll your eyes when I kind of teased this into break as far as Von Miller and the prospects of him returning and actually making an impact for the 2026-2027 Broncos. You don't like it.
Give it a rest, Vaughn. Dude, it's just not going to happen. I mean, how many times can you beg your ex to get back with you before it just comes off as sad?
Well, and a lot of people think you'd want or anyone that's a proponent of the Broncos adding a guy like Von Miller would be simply due to nostalgia. But there's enough production there for me. I don't think it could hurt. I mean, you get him on, like a vet minimum deal. The guy had 9 sacks last year.
It wasn't bad, but also when it's your backup edge rusher, you want that guy to be able to play special teams. You want that guy to be a little bit more versatile. I don't think Von Miller's playing special teams.
No, but if he can impact a game by rushing the quarterback, like, listen, he said at the end of last season that his tricks are still working, and until people are able to stop him, he's going to play as long as he can. Was it Zach and Phil that were talking about Cam Jordan and maybe an addition like that, where I don't see that the production's all that different? And I don't look at it as being a distraction. I mean, he's much more mature now than he was in his first stint with the Broncos. And if you can have a specialty role, knowing that it's an obvious pass situation that you can throw 58 out there just to do one job, if he got 7, 8, maybe even 9 sacks again, you don't think that's worth it in a team that needs that type of production out of those positions?
I'm not saying it's not worth it, but I just think the Broncos are pretty set at edge rusher. I don't think they really need to expand in the room, and I don't really know how much he's going to be able to provide to this team. I don't know. It's not the worst idea, but it's just, I don't know. To me, it just, again, comes off as sad that he keeps begging, and the Broncos just are having none of it.
And that's why it won't happen. Listen, I could look at it logically and analytically and say, hey, man, he can make an impact, enough of an impact to add him to this roster. But you're right. I think the Broncos are looking at it like, I've moved on. I already got the new girl.
It's your high school girlfriend that still wants to get with you when you're 27 years old. It's like, all right, that was a long time ago. That was a different version of me.
And he'll probably still be available. I don't know how much interest around the league there is in Von Miller, but if you ever need a piece like that, or if God forbid somebody goes down in training camp or something, you have him on speed dial at us.
Actually, I like that idea. If there's a major injury to the edge rushers, then you can bring in Vaughn. But as of now, I don't think it's necessary.
That's Dante Gomez from Marcello Romano. You've been listening to Denver Sports Tonight on 104.3 The Fan.
It's the ultimate showdown for a great cause.
Setting up the ultimate gold medal showdown.
On June 11th, Brandon Stokely goes head-to-head with Zach Bai in 100 Holes for Kids. 100 holes of golf. It's a one-day event all to raise money for Recruiting Classroom, whose mission it is to help kids play sports. Who will raise the most? That's where you come in. Pick your player, make your donation, and help kids win. To support Brandon Stokely, head to StokelyCares.com. To support Zach Bai, head to ZachCares.com.
I've been endorsing Advanced Tax Solutions for almost a decade now because I trust them when it comes to helping people get out of jams with the IRS and back into the system. I've talked directly to clients of Advanced Tax Solutions, people who save thousands and thousands of dollars in resolutions negotiated by Advanced Tax Solutions. Todd Whalen is my guy there. He's the founder, over 30 years experience working with, negotiating with, and if necessary, battling with the IRS. Call Advanced Tax Solutions at 303-753-6040 and at advancedtaxsolutions.com.
Colorado, it's time to take our recycling to the next level. That's why Recycle-On Colorado is bringing you more curbside and drop-off service from peaks to prairies. Guidelines as clear as our skies, so you know what goes where. And the price? As free as gawking at Bighorns on I-70. You deserve a recycling system you can count on, like your puffiest winter coat. And we're here to give it to you. Learn more at recycleon.org/Colorado.
Don't care for my friends at Roller Auction, leader in Colorado auctions for over 50 years. And they have one of my favorite auctions that's open for bidding right now that's ending June 3rd. A government fleet vehicle and equipment auction. This has SUVs, sedans, pickup trucks, utility trucks, dump trucks, police vehicles, trailers, various municipality equipment, and so much more. Open for bidding right now only at rollerauction.com. That's rollerauction.com.
Okay, I admit it. At 303 Law 4040, we like to have a little fun with the made-for-TV lawyers who pretend that they're from Colorado. In reality, they live in places like Chicago, Arizona, Texas. Heck, one guy flies in from New York City. New York City! Just so he can do his commercial and fly back home. Crazy thing happening here in Colorado. Outside private equity funds are pouring